Good morning, Taste with Jordan the Lion. John and I are on our way to the park, and yeah, I'm gonna do a majority of the vlog today in Culver City. I have to work there at 4:30, so what I want to try and do is I'm gonna hit actually like a couple of locations today, and I'm gonna pepper them out probably tomorrow and Friday into the vlogs, because since I'm down there, I might as well take advantage of all the places that I wanted to go vlog, and I just haven't went down there. Another thing I decided I'm gonna do a vlog from one of my favorite movies, but what I'm gonna do is to save myself a little bit on gas and a little bit on like just traveling so much, I'm gonna put it together over time as I have time to go to those locations, because this particular movie, I mean, it takes place in like 5 different sections of the city. Also, the reason I want to do that is because then it'll allow me to go to those places at the time of the day of the filming, so that if it was a night scene, I'll get a night scene. If it's a day scene, I'll get a day scene, and I can match them up pretty close. So that will be in our future. So at the moment, now we're heading off to the park so I can get this 12.5-pound monkey off my back and get his playtime in. Well, we're here. Well, we just got to the park. They have all the sprinklers on, so we're just chilling, waiting for them to kick off. This happened to us yesterday. I woke up a little bit early because of the time change, and Jaw just is relentless and just harasses me till no end till we come up here, and now we know that we can't come up here this early anymore because they kicked the sprinklers. A no too familiar sight. Isn't that crazy that I wake up and look out my door every day and it's like when Laverne and Shirley moved to Hollywood, the intro, you just see this every single time you watch. I'm becoming the new Laverne and Shirley, I guess. Ah, nice. Who got the ball? See that guy back there behind me? He actually brought a drone out here and cut his hand up pretty bad. He was trying to send it up, and this place doesn't have great reception, so it was not really there's flies like crazy out here. It wasn't really getting, it was getting reception. It was trying to, like, satellite was connecting, but it was trying to take off on its own, and he was worried it was going to fly around and hit a dog, so he tried to grab it, and now his hand's all cut up, and he just can't really even send it up here. So that's good to know in case I ever get one. I won't plan on it being right here that I shoot it up. Well, today I'm out here on Hayden and Higuera in Culver City, and this is where the infamous 40-acre backlot used to be. This is where Gone with the Wind was filmed. This is where Mayberry was. This is where Batman was filmed, and Star Trek. So I'm gonna start pointing out where all these places were right now. I was able to find on Google a map of how this used to all look, the old backlot, and believe it or not, right here is where Andy Griffith's house would have been. You'd have knocked on that door and Aunt B would have opened. Now I don't know what's being filmed here, but I've worked on this before, and when I worked here 2 years ago, it was Silicon Valley. So maybe Silicon Valley's filming there again. The inside of there was the computer place where they had all their people working. It's actually not Silicon Valley, it's I'm Dying Up Here. If you guys don't know what that is, there was a book written about the Comedy Store and the 70s comedy scene. They're making a TV show about it, so that's what's filming over here right now. But this is what I wanted to show you. One of the things over here is this sign. If you can read that, it says, near this site in 1927, the set for Cecil B. DeMille's King of Kings was built, used in 1932 as the gates of King Kong, which later became the burning city of Atlanta for Gone with the Wind, which was destroyed December 10th, 1938. Now, if you don't know a lot of the story of Gone with the Wind, basically what they did was they filmed the burning, they burned up a bunch of old sets from the 20s and 30s just because they didn't have room for them anymore. That's what you saw burning in the background. And if you look in that scene when Atlanta is burning in the background, way back in the back, you can actually see the King Kong gates. It's pretty crazy. Now where that palm tree is, this is actually the location of where the courthouse was and where the where Floyd's barbershop was. This was all Mayberry. Isn't that crazy? Like this whole section through here. This was all the Mayberry set. This was the Western sets. I'll intermittently keep posting pictures of how the lot used to look so you can kind of get an idea. It'll actually show Higuera where I started this tour, and it'll show basically where the river is, and the river, or the little like creek, is actually behind these buildings. So when you match it up, you'll be able to match up the creeks being back behind this. And I've worked over here quite a bit. They film a lot of judge shows over on this. Kind of sad what all the great stuff that used to be filmed here and what's here now. It's just a lot of stages. But you're looking at what would have been Mayberry. Literally, Mayberry. Basically right here, like right where I'm standing, and literally right here, this is the middle of where the lot would have been. This is where the Atlanta Railway Depot was in Gone with the Wind. Here's an overview shot of the Atlanta train depot, right in the dead center of the 40-acre lot. And here's a picture from inside the train depot looking at Tara. It's also where they set up Aunt Pitty Pat's house and the little church. That all would have been right here in the dead center. And then as we walk down this way, and we go down here, off to the left over in this section is where they filmed King Kong. And they had the Garden of Allah set up over here. And that's where they would have filmed all those kind of scenes whenever they were doing anything garden-like or jungle-like or whatever. And then actually on the other side of the creek behind here is where they had Tarzan's jungle. You realize we are just looking at a bunch of buildings, but I still think it's kind of interesting to show you what all was here. Right over where I'm at now, this is where King Kong would have been filmed in the early 30s. And also, right over in this whole development, right over in here, this whole thing right over here, that's where Gomer Pyle was filmed. Gomer Pyle was filmed there, and crazy to believe, but right here, this was not only Hogan's Heroes, where this building is, that's where the set for Hogan's Heroes would have been. But it's also the former site of Tara. Behind this building, the mansion from Gone with the Wind. Right here, at an angle, exactly the way my phone's positioned, facing us is where Tara would have been placed. It would have been right there. Pretty much right here is where Scarlett would have grabbed the dirt and decided to change her life. That is where Tara was. How crazy is that? It was here till 1959, and then they took it down, took it apart piece by piece. And they sold it for $5,000 to a guy who was going to open an amusement park with it, and then he never opened the amusement park, and then ended up selling it And I believe what I read was that the governor's wife of Georgia at the time bought it, and it's just in a barn in Georgia, and they're supposedly gonna clean it up and do something with it, display it. The front doors from Tara are actually at the Margaret Mitchell Museum, though. Unfortunately, the one kind of downside to Tara, even though they do have it still in pieces, is that they actually did burn, and well, they didn't burn it, but they dirtied it up and everything, because they did the burning of Atlanta scene after they had gotten everything else filmed. So they actually, now the state of the pieces that I found online, they're all dirty from that last scene. It's not really barn dirt, it's actually from just mainly just from the set decoration. So right here in this industrial park, this would have been where they had all the cameras set up and filmed some of the most memorable moments of Gone with the Wind. I don't know what that is, but I'm sure we'll see it in a TV show. So if you can see that stop sign down there, actually there's a tree in the way of it right now, but right down where that stop sign is, that's where the boundaries of the 40-acre lot was, and it took up, this is Higuera, or Higueroa, whatever. That goes all the way down to where that light is down there, and down on the corner where that light is, just to the right, that's where we started the tour, and that's where Andy Griffith's house was. So this whole section was the 40-acre lot, home to the Andy Griffith Show, Gone with the Wind, King Kong, King of Kings, Batman, Star Trek, all that stuff. This actually has changed hands so many times. It was at one point, it was all part of Culver Studios. What's Culver Studios now? We're gonna go by there. The story is Culver Studios was originally Ince Studios. So the very first thing that Tom Ince did when he set up the studio was he had a replica of Mount Vernon, George Washington's home, put up, and that became like the main offices. That's where Cecil B. DeMille, when he took over the studio for a couple of years, that was where his offices were, and that became David O. Selznick's opening trademark shot for his movies. He would have the picture of that, and that building was actually used in Gone with the Wind in a weird way. It's not the House of Terror. What it is they did a glass painting over front of the lens and laid that over top of the Mount Vernon replica, and they turned that into the house that Rhett buys Scarlett. So since we're in the area, we're going to go over there, and I'm also going to go over to where there's a set of, like a little alley of bungalows, and those bungalows were used for the actors in Gone with the Wind, since it would make it so much closer to set. Clark Gable didn't stay in those, though. From what I understand, at the southern end of Culver Studios, there's 4 bungalows there, and they were built in the 20s and 30s, and one of them was shared by Vivian Leigh and Clark Gable while they were filming. I don't know how big the bungalows are, and I don't even know that we'll be able to see them, but that was the 40-acre backlot. Culver Studios also at one time was Desilu. It's went through a lot of hands in its time. Now, if you go straight down here, straight down this street, that's where set was for Gone with the Wind. So we've driven up that Higuero Street, and now we're past where I showed you guys where that stop sign is. So they would have probably been shuttled, however that would have been back then, because now on sets they would put you in a car or a golf cart or something and they take you to set. But what I wanted to show you guys was that right here, where you wouldn't even expect it, there's a little alleyway, and that alleyway was well, it's a street, but it looks like a little alley. These were the bungalows given to the actors in Gone with the Wind. And the sun is just a killer today. But all these little houses back here, these were actually the, like I said, they were the little bungalow cottages for people like Olivia de Havilland and Leslie Howard, Mammy, some of the, you know, not quite star characters. And you know this was here. Look at that in front of us. I don't exactly know what of these are new, what of these are old. This one looks like an older one, for sure. But little known fact, a lot of you may not know, Vincent Price was actually originally considered for Ashley Wilkes, and then they ended up giving it to Leslie Howard. Look at that. Looks like something out of Hansel and Gretel. This sun, I mean, I guess I couldn't have picked a worse time of the day to do this. It's like 3:30 and the sun is just beating me to death with these bad angles, but check that out. The bungalows have gone with the wind. Whoa, what happened here? Whoopsie. Here's the main entrance to the Culver Studios. You can see stage 2 right there. And we're gonna walk over here and I'm gonna show you the front of what the O. Selznick company used and what they used for Gone with the Wind for that one scene with the weird painted glass. Well, believe it or not, there it is. That's the place that everybody gets confused and thinks is Tara, and it's not. Just go look at the pictures of Tara, you can tell it's not. But I'll tell you what, this is where that scene, Mammy and Butterfly McQueen, they're all out front right here, standing right here in front of this gate. And in fact, those hedges are still the same. That's it, man. That was, like I said earlier, this was the first building that Tom Ince had put here. I've actually been in there, not from the front, but I've entered from where you park and then you come up. Tom Ince had this built, and it's supposed to look like Mount Vernon. Another little nugget of Gone with the Wind history. And once again, we have another historic site. Became known as DeMille Studios, RKO, Pathé, RKO Pathé, together, Selznick, Desilu, Culver City Studios, and most recently Laird International on the Backlot. Such famous scenes as the burning of Atlanta for Gone with the Wind were filmed here. And I've shown you guys where that was. I don't think I pointed out where the burning of Atlanta was, but when we were over there by the train, where I said the train depot wasn't right, that's where it was. So there we go. Alright, you'd think our day was done, but it's not. I called John to see if I could swing by his house since he lives over here. Well, kind of over here. He lives like a mile or two away. Because I wanted to give him that Spark shirt, and he said, come by Time Warp Music. That's a record store for like a corner, right around the corner from his house. Because I'm recording a song in the back of the record store. And you can swing by and hop on in. So we're gonna go in there. Maybe we'll put some of that on the vlog for you John Juan fans. The Reed. Oh yeah. His apartment's pretty close to here. I was actually going to go today, but I ran out of time. I think I figured out why I'm not quite successful. I think I crouched down too much. Alright, I'm off to go cater, so I'm going to call it a night. We're going to call it a vlog over unless something really interesting happens while I'm working tonight. So, hope you guys enjoyed the 40-acre lot, and we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good night, guys.